Hi you guys, I am coming to you to paint a turkey today. We've got little lightning here and I know a lot of you guys weren't thrilled about it, but I'm hoping that by the time we're done, you might change your mind. And I'm gonna just tell you what I'm thinking in this first session, and then we'll see how it goes, okay? I haven't done anything to it yet. I wanna talk to you about all the ideas I have first. But before we get going, I've got a song to sing for you. It's by Melinda McLeod. She wrote it for us, and I had to edit it a little bit, but here I go. Tom, do you want to help? All right, here we are, you guys. Imagine a turkey. His name is Lightning. Look at his lovely head, his snood so long and fleshy. Imagine all the artists, what are you doing? Painting with joy. Imagine his
carbuncles.
Imagine his caruncles. It isn't hard to do. Bumpy and red. His face is also blue. You may say that I am silly. I'd say
carbuncles.
That it might be true, yet nothing brings more pleasure than creating art with you. Thank you so much for that lovely song. I loved it. I really did. It was so fun. Anyway, that was a great song by John Lennon that was much better by him, of course. So, oh gosh, is that way too loud? Okay, let's see how that is. Boy. Okay, so I'm going to switch over here to our little painting and we'll get started, okay? All right, so print out here. My thoughts on this, the reason why I kind of stuck with it, even though many of you weren't all thrilled about it, was I feel like we can get some good, fun painting in this. A little bit different than what we've been doing. It's an animal. We've got a great eye. Look at the light in the eye. There are a lot of textures that we can see all through here. And it's carbuncles. We can see it's caruncles, however you say it. I don't know what those are called. Maybe we should look that up. In any event, I'm going to work with the background first. My idea is to make a nice runny background, something that drips and has some fun colors in it. We won't be trying to make these as obvious, but we will make them look at the angles that they have, those kinds of things. That's my idea. And hopefully I'm going to get some of this pretty green in here, lots of different colors that we have. And anyway, that's my idea. Obviously I want to keep this really blue. These are some reds that I want to keep out there. I plan to paint this with a little bit of what I would call cell painting. And anyway, so let's do this. I'm going to mask him out a little bit, but not with masking fluid. I'm going to use masking tape. So it's a little bit different. And let me move it this way. Get it a little more square. Isn't imagination the best gift ever? Okay, so what we can do with masking tape, this is artist tape, and you can kind of form it around the areas like this that you want, because it's not going to be super critical to get them exactly right. You could use scissors if you wanted, but you can manipulate this a little bit. And then you don't have to wait for it to dry. So see, I'm just kind of bending it around. And then I'm going to go right into painting. That's my plan. That is my plan. So you can do this with me. it looks like it's going to take a little bit of the pencil off. So I'm kind of leaving it poked up there a little bit. Do you see that? It looks like caruncles. I'm leaving caruncle tape. Okay, let me get that a little bit better. My camera kinds to move a little bit. So another way I could do this is I could just try to maybe tear it and follow the shape a little bit. Just use masking tape that will not tear your paper. So again, I'm just going to try to follow the lines on this. It's not going to be perfect, and I hope it won't matter. So you can see me do it first if you want. But I know most of us are kind of like, we don't love masking. I don't even know if, some people really do love masking, I think. I just don't really care for it all that much. And so maybe just tear this up and try to find some shapes that fit closely to it. Those little hairs are gonna probably be gone, but we can always try to find them with a gel pen or something like that. I mean, I'd like to keep them, but I also feel like I don't want to use masking fluid. Just to give you another way to do something. So you could put your you could put lines of those on there. In fact, I'm thinking out loud right now. That's why I got silent for a second. I'm like, well, maybe I'll just do those, because we know that as long as, based on that one experiment we did on the Technique Tuesday, we can put water over masking fluid. We can have wet paper when we apply masking fluid. The main thing is you have to have your paper dry when you take off the masking fluid, right? So that's what you want to keep in mind. So see, I'm just kind of following the shape of this guy's head, this lightning's head. I don't think I can tear the tape small enough to make those little lines. So here I go. This isn't something you guys need to watch, but it's not that time consuming. The very end of his little, I think that's the snood, because we said snood so long and lovely, oh long and fleshy. And so it kind of comes to a little round point. And I don't know if I care so much about this kind of blending in with the background. I'm just thinking out loud right now because I've been thinking about how to do this turkey for a bit. You know what I think I might do? I think I might go ahead and do a few of these lines of the his little hairy lines. So let me get my masking fluid. So what's going to happen then is this is going to be a little shorter of a session. If I put this on, it's going to be shorter. Now I'm kind of like going, do I want to or not? I think I will. I think I'll just do a few. This is a different kind of masking fluid, and you're not really supposed to shake it. But so it's got those kind of lines, and I want them to be super. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I want them to be super thin. I can always paint over them, but I just want them to be very thin. Oops, how many times do I say oops? Oops. It looks like I'm putting big dots on the tape just because of the way it's coming out. So this will give me time to mix up a little bit of paint. You can also blow dry some masking if you want. I was just sitting there thinking, well, I could speed that up and dry it. And just kind of put them where you want. Looks like there's some at the bottom of his snood also. Oh, I know what I can do. While that dries, I can paint his eye. We can do that. Okay, so let's do that. I don't need this on top of thy tape right there. So I'm going to go like this and just get it off of there, because that's going to take a really long time to dry on the tape. Right? Yes. Okay, so that was just really drippy right there. I'd almost like it to be even thinner, so I'm going to try to do it with a palette knife if I can see if I can extend it a little bit. And that looks like I can. Okay. Because they're really, really fine little hairs. You don't want them to be super obvious. Or maybe you do. I mean, we're having a fun little turkey here. Okay, so let's go to his eye. I've kind of got him covered, like I said. So I don't care so much about this. Oh, look, I missed some of those little hairs. Maybe I better do those. If I'm going to do it, I better do it all, right? Okay. If it gets too much at the front of that, for me, it won't matter. On here, I'll get rid of it. Did I miss here? Okay. It looks like there might be a little more on this photo here. Kind of a feathery little... He needs to pluck, don't you think? Okay. So there we go. I'm thinking out loud, going along. Alrighty, put that over there. Let's do the eye. I've got this stuff all over my hand. I'm going to be painting again with you guys a little bit later. I'm going to go on to the boats. All right, let me get my brush here. Number 7, rosemary is the one I'm going to do. So in the eye, I've got part of it covered with the tape, but I can go around that, or lift it up, I mean. Okay. So let's look at the eye. I'll bring the photograph over. And let's zoom in. Let's get in here nice and close. Are we still focused? Yes, I think so. Pretty good. Pretty good. And here's our eye. So if you look at the eye, you can see this nice warm brown color to it. The white of the eye to me looks almost a little bit, in my photograph, almost pinky. A little bit of pink in there. But I'm going to start with an Indian yellow because I like that warm underneath. I've got to try to move this around because I've got the, I don't want to like smear the masking. So I'm getting some Indian yellow. A little bit watery, not too thick, about a 50-50. Oh, let me get my glasses. You guys know I do this every time. Put those glasses on. All right. So I think another one of our little chickens got killed by something, some wild animal. Poor things. I always say everything wants to eat chicken, and it's true. I'm folding this up so we can get nice and close to it and it won't get in the way of my masking fluid. Sorry about that. Okay, so here I go. Looking at the shape of the eye. Am I getting too many shadows by having my arms all around there? Sorry, I'm adjusting my lights for you guys. Mercy, having adjustment issues. I think that's better. And so basically I'm going to do all around the whole eye. I see the pupil right there, but I'm doing yellow all the way around and skipping the white, the highlight of that eye. All the way across the top, there's a little tiny line across the top that's going to be dark. Coming on down. It's kind of got a little corner there. So that yellow is going to be our lightest part that's going to look brown for us. Uh-oh. One of the dogs got in a fight there. I'm going to put a little more of this to give it a little more fullness, depth, whatever. Something that makes it a little richer. Now if you look around the eye, there's a darker black. So observe this. It's black right here, and then it's brown. I'm not sure if you can see that. Look at your photograph. It goes like there's a line of black, then a line of brown, then into the pupil. The pupil looks a little bit blue in the top, even though it's white. It's in that a reflection. Do you see how it looks a little bit blue where the pupil comes up and around? It almost looks like a drop, an eye drop at the top. To me, that's what it looks like. And then past the blue, it looks like there's reddish pink and then dark blue. So we'll try to capture all that. Okay. In fact, let's go to the pink right now. Let's get some, I'll use some alizarin crimson, very pale. And we'll do that around the eye, and we'll avoid the yellow. So leave a little bit around the yellow. Don't touch it. If you happen to, it'll be fine. I know I say that kind of stuff all the time. Don't do it, but if you do, don't worry about it, right? So using the tip of the brush, tiny. Up near the top, it turns from red to blue. So I'm going to switch out, and I think I'll go into, I think I'll use the cobalt teal up there. So now we've got all of the primary colors here, teal, red, and yellow. And now back to red. This is a really watery alizarin crimson. And I did touch the yellow there. It's fine. Okay, now I'm going to go back into that same blue, cobalt teal, and go under the red. I've got a line here drawn, so go under that one. You can touch that blue or that red even. Up here it gets pretty dark. Right up in here is pretty dark. I've drawn a lot of lines on here. You didn't have to, but it won't hurt if you do. You can just avoid them, or you can paint them, use them, whatever you need. Sometimes I like to draw more than necessary. It lets me know where things are. I'm going to make this a little darker, and while this is wet, I'm going to put some of phthalo blue in it. Phthalo blue, and it's just a little bit watery, a little bit, maybe thicker than what we just did. So drop it in and let it mix on its own. And some of that lighter will still show. Right now I'm just sort of killing time until we get to the background. That's what I want to do today. Okay, now that that's, take a clear brush with clear water and wipe it off on a towel, and come down here to where this lighter area is and just wet it and let some of that blue come into it. Leave some white areas if you can. This part right there is white, that right up here. So that's right in that area there. So don't go up in there. Again, if you do, it's not a big deal. So basically I'm just softening the edges around this eye because these aren't really hard edges. Back into some phthalo blue. It's a bit darker here, so I can add some to it. We can't see much because we've got the tape there, but we can just put little bits here and there, getting that darker there. It's pretty dark up here. I'd probably put some red in that. Maybe I'll get a little more of my, and this is thicker now. I'll show you. I'm making it thicker because I feel like that looks a little purple, and rather than going to purple, I'll just take some dark red. Okay, make it thick on your brush, and I'm gonna go right up here, right above that yellow. That red line that was on we painted red, but I think the blue kind of took it over. See if we can fix that later. Just trying to get the depth of an eye in there a little bit. I can paint over this with red and it'll be fine, I'm pretty sure. So let's go into burnt sienna now and get the brown of that eye. We're going with burnt sienna over the top of the Indian yellow, but I want to put a little more Indian yellow in first, so that they mix together. So here's some Indian yellow, and I'll just drop it in. Hey, quit that. Our dog likes to chew up the sheepskin rugs. So now I'm into the burnt sienna. And I'll put it right on top of the Indian yellow. Just drop it in, and it's going to merge its way out on its own and on its way in as well. And this is my line there that I'm not going to try to touch that yellow line there. And we'll see if it's dried enough for it to work. Come up all the way to the top where that darker area is. We're just painting right over the pupil. Okay, that's our first layer for the eye. And I'm going to go ahead and check out how this part's looking, and it seems fine. I'll go back into some phthalo blue, and I think I'll touch up in here. It's dark right in there. I may even come in with a little bit of red. Still a little bit wet there. Okay. Okay, how we doing? Let me take this out. I can't put the dark in yet because if I do now, it'll go in. I want it to be aligned, but once I put the dark in there, the eye will it'll be better. Let me refocus for you. Okay, so you can kind of visualize what's happening here. I think I will put a little more red in the underneath part, this dark area here. And that'll make it come out a little more. And this will be pinker here, and then dark in there, black in there. I'm just letting you know where my head is headed. Where my head is headed. And I'll go ahead and put a few in here like I said I might. Okay, how dry is this? It's probably going to be dry enough. So my idea is, let's see, what time is it? Okay. So we've been doing this for about 24 minutes. So I was hoping to do like about half an hour at a time, and I think that's good. So what I want to do is using the same, I want to make a drippy background. one that starts here and comes down, and then right about here gets lighter. That's my plan. So it starts up here, starts here dark, so it makes this part stand out, and then down here where it's not as important, it gets lighter. So that's my plan. What I need to do is get some paint, though, that is freshly squeezed, and what I plan to use is, I wanted to have some green reflection in it. So let me get my paint over here. Sorry, I don't have it all freshly squeezed. I was planning to, but I didn't. So I want to have manganese blue. I think that'll look good. Burnt sienna will make things dark, and it'll granulate. So let's get some burnt sienna, and we'll squeeze it out fresh. There's our burnt sienna. And then I want to use, I think I'll use quinacridone gold. We haven't used that for a while. Okay. And then since there's red in it, I want to put a little bit of red in there too. And we might as well go, what should we use? We should use, what do we have here? Pyrrole red. Let's see how much of a red that is. I don't know if I should do that because I don't know if I've told you guys to use that. Seems like that might be a nice red for that. Okay, let's just give it a shot. Right? Let's just give it a shot. I know I'm going to be using, okay, we're just going to go for it. So squeeze out some fresh paint, because I want this to be thick so it'll run down. I'm basically going to kind of spray it to make it run. Okay, so, and then I'll squeeze out some quinacridone gold. And the reason I'm doing that is I kind of want to see if I can make the blue and the gold make a nice green. Although, you know, I really do love I really do love my phthalo blue, but we'll stick with this and see what we get. This means I'll be painting with that somewhere in the painting. I'll probably need to use the quin gold somewhere maybe on the beak here. And then the pyrrole red I'll be using somewhere. So that's a new red in my palette here. Really bright red. Okay. I won't be using too much of that in the background. Okay, so I've got all these colors. They're nice and freshly squeezed. And what we'll do is we'll take a brush, and you should try to use a brush that isn't really good. Maybe one that's not super expensive, like this Chinese brush. I'll use this Chinese brush. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the paint, let's start with quin gold, and we're gonna put it on fairly thick on the brush, okay? And we're just gonna make it go on the paper sort of like this, okay? And maybe a little over here. And then from the quin gold, let's do some of the blue, the manganese blue. We'll put it next to it, nearby it, and also alone. So it's not a green. Okay? So it gets to be by itself too. Okay, and then we go to the burnt sienna. We're using it thick. We can just put it right over the top, especially over some of the blues. And I'll put the red over the top of that some places. Whoa, whoa, Nelly. Now that was a strong color, let me tell you. That was a surprise. I haven't used that one very much, obviously. Okay, now I want to put some more blue in there. It's going to get dirty. As you can see, it's going to be dirty. So now I'm going to take my paintbrush and try to coax it down the page. it'll start looking pretty cool when it runs. And yours is going to look way different than mine because whatever colors you use are going to, they just can't look the same. Like I'll never be able to repeat this ever again. We want this to come down, and I'm going to make it a little bit, I think I will go into some more of the blue. And watch right here, whoops, where it's going across the tape. And I'll put some more there. I don't want the brown so much, I don't think. We'll just take a peek at it and keep it going. Now let's spray. And let it run. I'm going to add some more into this bottom area. Some more paint. And what I was thinking was that it would look, it would kind of copy the snood thing. I'm going to get some more burnt sienna. I don't want it to look completely drippy like that. And like, I don't want it to look evenly drippy, if that makes sense. So I'll spray that again. And now if I spray it, it's going to get on this part of him, and I don't want that exactly. So this is where you're going to have a challenge because it's going to be your painting. It's not going to look like mine. It's going to have a little bit of interesting look to it. It's going to be different. I'm going to change this. It's blue here. I'm going to add some of the gold. And I also want to get it right next to here. I think I'm going to splatter some gold on here. And I also kind of want to have a little bit behind, a little bit of gold back there too. Gold is a pretty powerful color. Okay, so I did get some green in there that I was hoping for. I kind of like what's going on in here. I wanted it to be a little bit darker at the top, so I'm going to put some more blue there. And maybe with the burnt sienna, it'll get it a little more muddy. I kind of want to get dark right next to that head, because I want it to stand out. I like what's going on here. I think it looks interesting. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. That red was super, super powerful. I don't want much of the red here. I don't mind it there and there because that'll tie in later, I think. And that looks pretty good up there. I do like that. Maybe I'll put some more of the darker over here with the blue. Get that a little darker so it's dark on both sides. Let me just look at it. So now I'm visualizing what's going on next. What's going to happen with this, the bird. I think maybe I'll bring some of that burnt sienna right in here too. I think I'll throw down some blue again. And maybe over here too. Because we know we're going to have blue coming up on this bird's body. Okay, do I like that there? I'm looking at underneath. I really like how it's looking. And the way to make it do that is you have to tip your paper up. And then when I do that, you can't really see it as much. Okay, so as I'm looking at it, this is going to be on this will be next to red. And I'm thinking, do I want the red? Do I want that next to the red? I'm not sure if I'd rather it be more like that, because this is fairly light. I don't want it red, I know that. I wouldn't mind it being green, so let me put some blue in it. See if we can turn that green. Remember, green and red are complementary, so it might be okay there. A little more yellow. And then a little more blue again to get to that green. Ooh, look how pretty that green is up at the top right there. Isn't that cool? Super green. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but it's really, really green. Okay, so if you need to rewind that, rewind it. Maybe a little more blue. I'm going to get some phthalo blue to green it up a little bit. Okay. And down you go. Whoops. And I'm going to go ahead and dab this up before it runs down again. And again, this is a challenging thing for most people to do, this kind of a thing. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do it, because it's good for you. These stripes here, I don't really like those still. So I'll spray them again. See if I can get rid of them. I'm just going to kind of break it up a little bit. It's possible that I could lift those out with Mr. Clean later. So I'll throw a little bit more. I feel like I need a little more red in here, that strong pyrrole red. I'll just sort of throw some down. And now you get to make decisions on your own on what it looks like. Let me grab a board so I can put it on the board. Oops. Okay, doesn't that look cool? Look at all those colors. And really there's only, well, I use the, whoops. I used burnt sienna, so I used these are the 4 colors. Quin gold, manganese blue, burnt sienna, and this pyrrole red. Pyrrole red is actually known by other names, so if I give you the, it's PR254, and there's quite a few reds known by that. So what I kind of am not really liking is how it stops right there, right next to his snood. I don't really want that to stop there because, well, it just seems odd. So I'm wondering if I can put a little more in there to change that up. I'm going to try some blue. See if I can coax it down further. It's starting to dry, so I'm in sort of a danger zone. It just looks like they're all stopping. See that whole zone right there? And my paper's bent, and that might have been part of it too. But you know, maybe it's not so bad. I'm gonna throw some blue down again. See if I can get the attention away from it. And then I'll tip it. It's on a board now, so it'll be harder for you guys to see. Okay. I kind of like it being lighter right there. I might be able to spray it and get some more splatters here. Maybe I'll just spray it there, because while it's starting to dry, you know, if you put water on it, it'll make splatter. It'll make, the water will push the pigment around. Just like on my sky that I did on the dinghies. Okay, so I think that's good for now. I'm gonna let it dry. This is session 1, and we'll come back and show you what's going on with session 2. I'll let this dry and I will catch you guys later, okay? Shall I sing to you guys a song? Should I sing a song goodbye? Look at how cool this looks right there, you guys. Just look at it. Isn't that amazing? Super cool. It's gonna dry a little bit lighter, but I think that'll be fine. So I'm gonna tip mine up a little bit. If you get water puddling, it'll make a back run, which in this kind of situation is probably not terrible because it's super crazy and loose anyway. But just letting you know that. Remind yourself of that. If this stays here and puddles, you might want to use a tissue if you don't want it to back run. Okay, so I'm gonna set this on an angle, put it over here, and I'm gonna sing to you guys. Twinkle, twinkle, you're a star, keep your brush near, not far. Splash your paint, you're doing great. Enjoy this turkey. Yeah, enjoy this turkey. Do not wait. Twinkle, twinkle, you're a star, keep your brush near, not far. And I love it. I'm loving what it looks like. It's super cool. Super cool. All right. See you next time, okay? Bye.